Even with no strong five, the Lakers have it up with LeBron and Luka to win the West at plus 800 on BetMGM. Do you believe in that statement, or do you feel it's make believe?
Yeah, I'm going to go make believe, right? That said, I didn't know that Dallas was going to completely change their identity the second half of last season, buy in on the defensive end, get Kyrie Irving to buy in on the defensive end and make a run to the finals with Luka as their best player. So I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm a big Luka fan. I think if he's not the third best player in the world, he's probably number two, right? And now you're pairing him with LeBron James, who still has a lot of great basketball left in him. I just want to see how it looks, man, right? Like both guys do need the ball in their hands. Maybe the Lakers kind of want LeBron with the ball in his hands less in the clutch. You want Luka, obviously, because like I said, he's a top three, top two player in the world, but they already struggled defensively with Anthony Davis, who's one of the better defenders in the league. And now Anthony Davis is gone, right? Like if this is a roster with a big that I trust, then I like the Lakers a little bit more. We'll see what they do this offseason. Maybe a team I'll buy into next year. I know LeBron will only be another year older, but just don't think that they're good enough defensively. I'm an OKC guy. I do worry how young they are. They got to the dance last year, though. Chet just came back. They're tough to beat. Shea's one of the best players in the league, giving you 30 per night. He's going to win the MVP most likely. I still could see the Nuggets making a run, right? 2 years ago, they won the NBA Finals. Jokic is still one of the best players on planet Earth. You still have Jamal Murray. When he's right, he's a closer. You have Aaron Gordon. You have Michael Porter Jr. I was kind of hoping that maybe they would be able to add a depth piece at the deadline, but they weren't able to. Memphis, I want to like Memphis, man, but I just don't trust them against good teams. But I love Ja. I like Jaren Jackson. I like Bane. Let's see what those moves that they made at the deadline look like. I was kind of excited to see what Marcus Smart would look like when he came back. Instead, they moved on. Clippers, I'm kind of out on. The Rockets, I think, are probably a year away, but man, are they fun. They're young. Nobody wants to see them in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm going to go with make believe on the Lakers, though. I'd probably have them 3 or 4th in the West.
All right, chemistry issues. Maybe not enough time for them to really galvanize and bring everything together, but a place 800, some decent value there on the board. Horvat, though, believes that statement is more make believe. Let's get one more NBA statement in there, straight from the almighty pen of War Daddy. He wrote this: at the price of 13-1, the Knicks are a good bet to win the NBA Finals. Do you believe, or is it make believe?
So I'll say this. I don't believe, but I do think that the question is correct. I think at the price of 13-1, they're probably the best value bet on the board, right? We just talked about the Lakers who are priced 14-1. That team's old. They don't play any defense. In the Knicks, when we do get to the playoffs and it becomes a half-court game, even though the defense has taken a step back because of the offensive additions that they added, I trust them because it's Tibbs. I love Tibbs. He's one of my favorite coaches in the league as a Chicago guy. I do worry that he burns his guys out, especially the second half of the season. I think there's a lot to it, not just like the Derrick Rose injuries, but kind of ran Joakim Noah into the ground with the plantar fasciitis stuff. And but this team has a ton of talent, man. I just think Boston's still the best team. I'd take the Knicks over Cleveland though. I'll say that. And at the price of 13-1, injuries do happen, but I think Boston just has too much depth. So I'm going to say make
Yeah.
believe, but also I do think it's a good price.
Yeah, I mean, Boston's what, plus 225 to win the NBA
Yeah.
title right now. Same odds as the OKC Thunder. Yeah, it's the Boston Invitational right
Yeah.
now in the NBA. Period. End of story. So I tend to agree with you there. All right, let's go ahead and shift gears to college basketball. And these statements I wrote, and here's the first one, and I'm going to toss it your way. Even with the deafening hype around Cooper Flag, Duke falls short of enormous expectations, primarily due to the weakness of the ACC getting bounced before reaching the Elite Eight in this year's NCAA tournament. So, in other words, I am not believing that Duke is going to be an Elite Eight team. Is that believe or make believe to you, Horvey?
I'm going to say make believe. Usually I would go with believe, and I'm not saying that they can't get clipped, right? Because the ACC is weak. We haven't really, I mean, do you trust John Shire when we get to March? We're going to find out, but this team kind of has a different identity. They play at a slower pace. They're just so tough defensively, right? Them, Auburn, Houston, those are the teams that I trust Tennessee to make a run. And when you got a guy like Cooper Flag on Saturday in that loss to Clemson had a terrible shooting performance. I want to
He
say he
did.
had 9
Yep.
points. going into like the final couple minutes, finally hit a big shot late. But, so of course, like he could go cold. The rest of that team could go cold from three and they could get knocked out. But what I like about Duke is the way that they defend, the way that they guard. So even if they're cold, it's going to be a lower scoring game. I think they're going to be able to grind out some games that they weren't able to in the past under Coach K and even those first couple years under Shire. So I'll go make believe, man. I like this Duke team to at least make a run to the Final Four this year. Like you say, though, Brad, it's all about draw. And right now they would be a 1 seed.
I'm going to say I'm going to believe in that statement. Yeah, you're right. It's all about path, right? It's all about draw. What kind of potholes on the road to the Final Four or the Elite Eight could they face? We don't know. It's all a guessing game right now. The area, though, of weakness that I am concerned about with Duke is this. Yes, they're number 10 at Puerto Rico overall over the last month, but they're number 147. An effective field goal percentage defense. That is subpar. That is lackluster. That is lacking defensive authority, especially from outside. Number 281 and 3-point percentage D. So if they get a team along their path that's excellent, marksman from outside, that could lead to their exit. That could lead to their undoing. That is their downside. And a team that, again, I just don't think they've been challenged hard enough in the ACC. It's going to be really curious to see how they perform against who? My ILL, because I think it's a very timely game for them to play a quality team like Illinois on a neutral floor at MSG late in February, because I think that is going to give me a true litmus test, a true barometer of where this team lies, because the ACC stinks. It's a bad league. So, yeah, I think Duke could be a letdown this year. At least it's shaping up to be that way. But then again, people just say, Evans, you're a Duke hater. But look, I know Cooper Flagg's good. I know Proctor can be a gunner extraordinaire. I have question marks about this team, and it's primarily defensively. Speaking of the ILL, let's work in one more statement. Despite its rash of sicknesses, injuries, and accumulated losses, Illinois, when healthy, remains a viable Final Four contender in this year's NCAA tournament at plus 1,200 on BetMGM. Do you believe in that statement, or is it make-believe?
No, I still believe in that statement, man. Like you said, they got to be fully healthy. So you'll have to have Trey White and Will Riley, not catch the flu. Guys are going to have to stay healthy. But you got 4 guys that average double figures. This team could fly up and down the floor. I like Illinois. And what I like about these Big Ten teams is they're all battle tested. Every single night, you're getting everybody's best fight. There's not really a weak team in the conference this season. So, yeah, I think that they still have the highest ceiling in the Big Ten, right? I'm not saying they're going to win the Big Ten because they're clearly not going to.
No.
But I do think them and Purdue have the highest ceiling, I would say.
Well, and again, I think that Minnesota game, you look back on it, that's a tipping point moment in their favor because you have 2 true lottery picks on this roster. And when they are playing in concert together, in synchronicity together, they're nearly unstoppable. And guards usually win in March. And Illinois got a dynamic backcourt, and they're long guards. I mean, Will Riley, 6'9". Castros Yakachonis, 6'7". These guys are 5'10". They're not 6 even. They're legit 6'9", 6'7". That's why NBA GMs are drooling over their prospects of drafting him as a likely lottery pick. Illinois is up 10 right now. They mentioned Trey White. Trey White's not even playing tonight because he's been sick the last couple of games. So he's got to get right, and they're still out there taking care of business